Hi everyone, it's me, Sandy Cruz of Sandy K Nutrition, Health and Lifestyle Queen. For years now, I've been bringing to you conversations about wellness from experts from all over the world. Whether it be suggestions in how you can age better, biohacking, alternative wellness, these are conversations to help you live your best life. I want to live a long, healthy, and vibrant life. Never mind all those stigmas that as we reach midlife and beyond, we're just going to shrivel up and die with some horrible disease. Always remember, balanced living works. I really look forward to this season. Hi everyone, welcome to Sandy K Nutrition, Health and Lifestyle Queen. Today with me, I have a special guest. Her name is Lauren Zander, and she is from the Handel Group. She is the chairwoman of this life coaching group. She's created a number of different methods as a life coach. And today we're going to talk all about authenticity. I recently released an article in my Substack. Go join me there. I actually do a lot of explorative writing all about wellness, body, mind, spirit, soul. sandycruz.substack.com. That's SandyKruse.substack, SUBSTACK.com. Majority of the articles that I do release are free. But I wrote an article, and the title of it is Trends I've Seen That I Can No Longer Unsee That Will Be Going Away. The Fall of Unauthentic Voices and Wellness in Social Media. I've never gotten so many unsubscribes when I released this article. And I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. And maybe some people are like, F you. I like to give 1 million discount codes to the people who follow me because that's the only way I make money. Okay, fair. But there are almost too many people in this space of wellness where they just hand out all these discount codes and push products. They don't even use them or support them in their lives. And it's kind of gotten out of control because before you would have people in the space of wellness and you would have trust in them when they promote products. I actually know people, and I've recently let go of affiliations with people who I just can't do it anymore. They're so fake. They are promoting products, and these are people who I used to consider good friends. It's just gotten out of control when, privately they'll tell me, oh, I don't even get this product. Meanwhile, they're pushing it because they get paid to push it. So I don't know. I think things are going to change, and all of this is going to be uncovered. I have a lot of this. I believe that when you put yourself out there for authentic, real reasons for good, that good will eventually come back. I believe when you put yourself out there for the purpose of, greed, power, fame, money, as a main motivation, it ain't going to work out for you. The world is changing. And that's why this conversation about authenticity is very timely. Because the whole world has gotten just so fake. So go and follow me on Substack. I know there's a lot of you out there who really align with my message. That is, wellness takes work, and wellness is so much more than just science. Science is a small component, but There's the body, the mind, the spirit, and the soul. And I think that if we are missing a lot of these other components, we are missing a big piece of how we can age better and age well. If this conversation resonates with you, please do share it with a friend. I also would love to get more reviews from you on how my podcast has helped you in any way, shape, or form. That means a lot. All you have to do is go on Apple, search for Sandy K Nutrition, scroll down a little bit. You can give a 5-star review there and then write a review. This just helps me to continue getting amazing guests each and every week. And speaking of authenticity, you will notice I don't have a million ads, and this is on purpose. And as long as I can keep doing this podcast without a million ads, and a million is an exaggeration, I get approached by companies who want to sponsor a few spots, and I say no. And this is very rare from podcasters, very rare. The reason I do that is because, first of all, my background is sales and marketing. And I know that repetition works. I also know that there are certain companies out there who will do sprinkles of ads with numerous different people. Again, onto the same topic of authenticity. People are opening their eyes to this more. I mean, I've gotten press kits, and I got a press kit from a certain green juice company. And when you have all these different voices sprinkling little ads here and there, it doesn't look good on your company. And I'm going to say that outright. And I've told companies that outright. I will not work with them with just 1 or 2 little ad spots. It looks fake. Whereas if you want to work with me in a partnership, the minimum I do is 6 months. We work together. We create a customized plan. So if this is something that is of interest to you, and this also goes along all platforms, of course, the company and we have to have an alignment of integrity. If this is of interest to you, email me, sandy@sandyknutrition.ca, and we can have a little chat. Follow me on all of my social media channels, just Sandy K Nutrition everywhere. And yeah, I had a little bit of a longer preamble this week, but I've only got 2 more episodes after this one. Next week is going to be incredible. It's with Sober Sis. And if you're unsure about your relationship with alcohol, especially during this holiday season, it's a perfect time to listen. Listen to this episode. It's without judgment. It's for women, and it's all about your relationship to alcohol. And then the last episode before Christmas is with Maureen St. Germain, who I love. This is the second time she's coming. And we're talking all about living in 5D. So with that, here is my amazing conversation with Lauren Zander, all about authenticity. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sandy K Nutrition, Health and Lifestyle Queen. My guest today is Lauren Zander, and she is the founder and chairwoman of the Handel Group. It's an international corporate consulting and life coaching company. Her coaching methodology, the Handel Method, is taught in over 35 universities and institutes of learning around the world, including MIT, Stanford Graduate School of Business, NYU, and the New York City Public School System. Lauren is the creator of Inner.U, Learn to Human Better, the online coaching course that teaches the entirety of the Handel Method, which has been used by dozens of celebrities, CEOs, and entrepreneurs since 2004. And she's also the author of Maybe It's You. And this is a no-nonsense practical manual that helps readers figure out not to just want what they want out of life, but how to actually get there.
Mm,
Now, today, Lauren and
mm.
I are going to be discussing authenticity. And you know what? I'm going to even throw accountability in there. In a world that really seems to be lacking those two things, I mean, we're going to throw in some more topics in there, of course, but I feel the world has really changed. And I'm so looking forward to this conversation. So, with that, welcome, Lauren. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah. And I love
It
hearing
never
about it
gets old.
because my big thing is that we are never too old to learn how to improve our lives, ourselves, which then can in turn improve our lives. So I have to ask you how you began in this industry. How did it all start with you?
I got my degree in environmental studies. I got a BS in environmental studies from George Washington University. And I really do say this line. I believed back then that I needed to save the environment, like save the trees. And I had a revelation by 22 that it's the trees are not what's having the problem. It's the humans that can't see the trees, and it's people. And I don't know why. And basically, starting in 20, when I was 22, I started my self help job life. Then the next thing is I worked for one company and ultimately was not happy there at all. And so when I was 28, I broke out on my own and just started coaching one on one when there was no such thing as a life coach. I really was made fun of for calling myself a life coach. I really like spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I thought I was. And I really honestly believe I'm original gang from 54. Like I was back in the day where there were no such things.
Yeah.
And so I started my practice in 98. I started the company in 2004 or 5, and I've been at it ever since.
Okay. So
Hmm.
obviously there was a gap that you saw and you
Mm-hmm.
went for it because now life coaching is such a big deal.
Is right. Cannot believe it's a major. You can take it at university, right there. And I was teaching at universities too. I had my dream was to break into schools and teach real life in education, right? I was definitely upset no one was teaching, and I wanted to see what would happen if like could kids take to it. And I developed method, the Handel method, at MIT. Right. So I spent, because I had to teach from the front of the room, not one on one. And so I had to design to be able to start to teach to 70 kids that were there. And then MIT was perfect because they're all PhD students, literally means they're going nowhere for 10 years. And so me too. Right. So I sat there and we all kind of like developed the method. I had new groups. It was the most wonderful time that I was a visiting scholar and got to develop all this material.
Okay, maybe explain what a life coach is because so I've done a little bit of mindset coaching.
Mm,
Okay. What was it called? It wasn't cognitive behavioral therapy, it was a different one, kind of similar to that.
sounds
So,
smart.
but the reason I did that was because I believe that food is very intricately tied to mindset. I am a nutritionist. So, what is a life coach?
I don't know what other people are doing. I really don't. So if you're like, what are other life coaches doing? I have no idea. I have been developing life coaches that work for the Handel Group or license my content for over 20 years. So
Okay.
I can tell you what I have life coach into,
Okay.
which is so the method that I developed and what I do is I have people figure out their dreams in their life, right? So over 80% of human thought is negative. We talk to ourselves negatively. We think negatively. We're always on the worry, don't watch out, you're gonna, it's not turning out, who do you think you are? Like everything possibly negative. And so what I did with my method was I had people really start to deal with what they wanted and being prolific in talking about what they want, right? You could talk about everything you don't want, but can you talk what you want? So I broke life out into 12 different areas. I ask for a dream in all 12 separately. And I start to have people learn how to make promises. And then I basically move them through the method as a life coach. I move them through the process. I also do your parent personality traits and I make you deal with your personality. And I also make you deal with your haunting memories, things that you like, and why you think you can't have your ideal dreams. And body is always something people are suffering over. They're like, have I ever met someone who gave themselves an 8.5 on their body? And I'm like, no, no one's happy there, right? So many people work on their body or their career or their love life and then work on money, and spirituality is somewhere in there, right? So that's what I do. I make people figure out their dreams, and then I teach them how to be accountable to them and how to shift their personality and deal with their negative inner dialogue and learn how to keep promises to themselves, not to everybody else. You That's good, but really know how to master your own voice in your head and design your life so it does what you want it to do.
So it sounds a little bit like mindset coaching is just like one tiny little component of what you do. Like it's just quite big. Um,
It's really comprehensive. It really is. It takes 2 years for someone to become a coach or to be able to do this methodology. It's not easy.
no,
It's
no.
wonderful. It works, but and it's life changing. It's dramatic. Right. And it certainly teaches, like, I have a lot of formulas that I teach that are really like, once you learn them, you wish you could unlearn them. Right. Like you can't get like I teach your higher self how to take over the lower self.
I like that because
Mm,
the one observation that I can say as a 54-year-old woman as well, we are
mm-hmm.
aligned there, is that
1970.
yes, go 1970. Um, People change around midlife, and I changed drastically around my 40s, late 40s, when my kids started to get a little bit older, a little more hands off, and then I'm like, "Hold on a minute. Who am I?" Right? It just
Mm,
so happened that I had to go through the hero's journey in order to figure that out. Not everyone needs to
mm,
do that. And I would assume that a life coach is somebody who can help you navigate these changes that are going on internally. So you must see a lot of people around midlife want to do, I'm sure you
in
see all kinds, but I'm just saying midlife is often a time where we question our future existence and where are we going?
I get brought in for big transitions. Right. So getting divorced, how do I get divorced? What am I doing about my divorce? Right. So, like, should I get divorced? Uh, I'm 38 years old. I have an amazing job. I love my career, but I don't have love. And I think I'm about to miss having a family if I don't get myself together right now. I joke, I call that the 38 special. So I get acute problems or big career dreams. So when I work with famous people, right, most of the famous people I work with have huge aspirations. And, and have made it or are making it more and more and more and want to be happier as their success rises. Right. So there's a whole lot of what I have all different. I cannot, like, everyone wants to grow
Do you
and they
think
have
everyone
dreams.
do you think everyone wants to grow? Because
Everyone who's looking for me does.
for you, yes.
Everyone no one comes anywhere near me that doesn't want to grow. Right. So at all. Right. I am no one sent to me. I'm way too expensive for that. And then all the classes that I teach that, if you like come to buy Inner.U, all my classes are free once you own Inner.U. And so the groups of people that I see every week, because I do free classes, there's nothing, everyone there believes in change and wants a group and wants a buddy and is working on their lives and, from all over the world. Right. And they're making friends and we're having like a world changing, making promises to ourselves group effort. So in my reality, the people I get to be with want a better world and care profoundly about the quality of the planet, their lives, and what's possible for their kids, right? Their bodies, everyone, right?
I feel like the world has changed considerably since COVID.
Right.
Considerably. And
Yes.
myself, I have a group of I have a close cohort of really close family and friends, very
Mm-hmm.
grounded in friendships from childhood. And we
Mm-hmm.
talk about this all the time. We talk about how 2019 was one of the best years of our lives. And then all shit hit the fan as soon as 2020 hit. And actually, that's when I started my podcast, right
In
before the
2020.
pandemic. It's right
Well
before the pandemic.
timed. Nice work.
I didn't even know the pandemic was happening. It was February 2020. So there you go, people. There were just rumblings of the virus still.
Yes.
But we talk about how much the world has changed.
Mm,
And maybe it's just become more prevalent. There were like rumblings before that. I would love to
mm.
hear your viewpoint on this.
So a lot, so from my perspective, right, which is a skewed perspective, because I deal with people that are committed to changing or believe in a better life and want to deal with that. Okay. So I have a very and they're all so working hard at it. But what happened through COVID is that you could because people move so fast in their lives, um, until they got stuck at home for a long period of time where they couldn't get out of their home. They had to face what was in their home. Like, were you happy in your marriage? No, really, if you can't leave. Or how's your relationship with your kids? How's your relationship to your body? How are you alone with yourself? And so everything got so much smaller, and anything that wasn't working, you couldn't hide from anymore. Right. Where speed and time and everything you're up to can make it like problems don't exist in many ways. All the problems stayed home with you. And
Yeah.
so during that, I did not have a problem working during that time. And everyone's marriages were in a lot more trouble, is what I noticed. And then the kids were way, it's like if we were ever hoping they weren't going to turn into screen heads, like you're attached to that screen. COVID did not help, right? That was like justified addiction.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I have two kids. And although I had one that continued to go out and party and hide behind the scenes and do whatever. And listen, now I can talk about it because it's in hindsight. I ignored a lot of the stuff because I knew mentally it wasn't good for me to be
Mm.
locked down, to be in isolation. Um, I ignored a lot of it. And I had one kid who did too. So there you go. And I don't
Mm,
regret a single thing. Um,
mm.
but would you say that people are generally, okay, I know that you're obviously the people who come to you, I would say, are very accountable and self-aware, because otherwise you wouldn't go see a life coach, right? Would you agree with that?
They're better than most. They're deeply better than most,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean they're accountable at all. Right. I am still teaching something that isn't like a duh at all. And people are still very surprised to discover, and I mean overachievers are still very surprised to find out that in the area that you're suffering, whether in your body, right, you're suffering, you don't relate to yourself like you're making excuses, and the way you talk about yourself in food and how you relate to yourself is the problem. Right. So they're coming to me for a different area of life. And before you know it, I'm like, oh, we have to learn. You have to hear the voice in your head, and we're going to work on your weight. Right. And we're gonna take away sugar and carbs that you don't need. Well, you can eat all you want, but sugar and carbs out of here. Right. And then let's see what happens, because I wanted you to track your own inner dialogue. Right. So when you take away the vices from a person and you really make them manage themselves, that's when they find out how much storytelling and excusing they're doing in their own inner dialogue. So I really rewire a person to be true to themselves and their dreams. So, but I have never met anyone all that accountable in the area that's difficult.
But you teach that.
That's what I,
That's,
that's my jam.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get to a topic that people don't, I think this maybe goes to the subject of self-awareness. I
Mm,
see a lot of triggered people,
mm,
and you must teach that, that
mm,
triggers are really something, it's a reflection.
mhm.
I would love for you to get into that.
People keep their triggers, right? Like you're not trying to get over your triggers. You're looking for your triggers, right? You're like, my husband triggers me this way. You see how he's doing? So most people don't realize how much their triggers are something they're proving, and that date back to the original wound or whatever you're really dealing with in your life that hurts you.
Yeah.
So I definitely track down triggers and have a person understand that trigger. So I can't think of anything more important. It's I also call them freak flags. I like a more fun term for your,
I like
you
it.
get it's your freak flag, right? It could be anything, right? And then some of your freak flags you're going to be keeping, and you just need to let everyone know you're keeping it, so you stop getting other people upset with you, and you get them to accept you that way. So you stop triggering others, or you put your freak flag or that trigger down because you know it's bothering other people. I make people interview their husbands and wives and kids about, what do I do that, what do you love about me, and what sucks about me, and what do you wish you could change that I have never heard you say or change. And my coach is making me interview you for this, and it could be a 10-year-old, right? And so I start the conversation immediately, where we're all allowed to not get mad at each other, but actually be honest with each other and ask for what you need. And you may or may not get it, but it's still better to ask.
I personally, I think it's good to, it's like, it's just kind of like what you said. I think it's good to identify your freak flag or your trigger, whatever it is. So for
Yeah.
me, it's kind
Mm.
of funny. One of my triggers is when my husband asks me about money and
Yeah.
the credit card. And it's definitely a trigger. I
Yes.
know that I react irrationally
Yes.
instead of just being able to have a rational conversation about it.
Yeah.
But I deep inside also know why.
What do you
And
think your
so,
why is?
well, I already know my why. My why is, you know, what did he say once? Death by a million cuts. It's like that whole Amazon thing where you just keep buying stuff like, oh, it's only 20 bucks. Amazon, right? And so I know that I'm the problem.
Okay.
So I've identified it that it's a trigger for me because I'm looking in the mirror going, yeah, I probably do this too much. So it doesn't mean I'm not going to stop getting triggered, but I think it's important for me to go, okay, I'm going to turn this around and look at myself and go, maybe I'm the one that has the problem. Do you
You, yeah. Yes,
do you
because
have clients like that where so I'm a little bit too much in my head though, Lauren. Like
mm,
I do a lot of self-reflection. I journal a lot. I am a writer as well. I feel like I'm almost in my head too much. I also
mm,
meditate, but at the same time, I think it helps with my self-awareness. So, do you help with clients kind of figure out those triggers? Because personally, I think when people identify that, it can make the collective a better place because people on social media, my God, the amount of times that I've been slammed or trolled on social media for saying something, people are very triggered overall.
mm. So I help people like so in the scenario you said, right? So you have a husband who he brings it up and then you get away, a type of way, which keeps him at bay, maybe, or makes it like scare him to talk to you about it, or some version of um a slight potential tantrum of your like so there's some way you get that then gets you to not have to have a budget, right? So I right so there's like I would be the annoying coach that would be like, hey lady, your husband needs you to have a budget. If you're in budget, you won't be triggered, would you? Because you're like perfectly spending the amount of money that you're allotted. And if you want to have the right fight, it would be how much money do you get a month? Right. And then why don't you look at your last 6 months and figure out how much you're spending and then deal with what you want to be saving and taxes? Like, so I make sure that your dreams are happening and your dream called money and savings and retirement um, actually tolerate your Amazon. Like if you talk straight to your dream, Amazon's in trouble, right? So, so I go to a higher state of who are we talking to figure out what you're doing on Earth, right? And and if your dream is to have fun shopping every day and be able to spend 30 bucks a day, then knock yourself out and make that deal with your husband. Never feel bad and never be triggerable.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary. And the trigger is a sign that you're missing an agreement to make.
Do you think the world is more triggered now than before, Lauren, overall?
There's a lot more humans, so it could make sense.
I just think there's a
So
lot of polarity, right? There's a lot of
I think it's
polarity.
there's a lot more room to know the polarity. There's a lot more like I left living in the United States. So, and I really don't like America. Like for me, America had way too much everybody involved, everybody opinionating, everyone canceling, everyone vote, like and then it was all this pop fake culture, right? And I just wanted nothing. I just wanted it to stop being what like informed my life that that's what life's about. And as you were saying, like over 50, I went through a big change, which is I no longer accepted that kind of reality to be mine. Hmm,
I like it.
hmm.
So, how do you help? Well, I mean, I guess you see it. You're from the United States. You
Mhm.
saw the polarity, you saw what's
Mhm.
going on because the state of the world is different now, and those are the
Definitely.
facts.
Yes.
And I guess you help others realize where they want to go, what they want to do. But what exactly do you notice about people overall? Do you notice that there's more anxiety, more greed, more struggle? Like, what do you see? Like, when somebody comes to you, it's not just about, you know, I'm trying to get through this divorce. It's got to be
I,
on a
I
larger
think
scale.
I think I find the world more competitive. Like everyone's feeling squeezed and more not good enough. And that like measuring up, right? And competitive. And so life isn't like what life's becoming about is a type of making it. And the more everyone can see how everybody's doing, the more people feel like they're failing.
What's driving
And
that, though?
um
Social media, maybe one driving factor?
I think the amount of social media and seemingly like we're all connected when everyone's home alone, like
Yeah.
the extreme of feeling like everyone's in your business, or if you even wrote that down, right? So that everyone could see you and then no one's with you, right? Is so strange, right? So people, yeah, yeah. But the dreams that people have are not different over my 30 years. Like people are looking for 20 years. People are looking for love. People want to love their bodies. People want to have more friends. People want to get new jobs, make more money, want to have a better vacation, and want to fix how they talk to themselves when they look in the mirror. Right. So a lot of it is very much like I'm really not teaching new things. Though social media is definitely a promise people have to make. Right. Like I have a lot, like, so I hold people's promises, right? For all my clients, like every person, like the 5 promises that would make your life better, like remarkably better, are not the same as the 5 promises I need, right? Everyone does not need the same thing. And so I get to hold a lot of promises for all my clients. And everyone needs social media promises. Like they can't be, they can't be on Instagram. They can't be scrolling. Doom scrolling is a true thing that people need to stop. And people don't even know how much they're wasting their life thinking they're participating in life.
That's a big line right there, and I would agree with that. But I think it's almost like a form of addiction.
Yes, it's not maybe.
Yeah.
It's not a maybe. It's real. Anything that a person needs a promise for that they then won't keep, like it's not easy to keep that promise, is an addiction, right? Like the thing has you, you don't have it, right? If you
Mhm.
can't help only have 1 glass of wine and you have to have 4, or you don't think you could stop, and then you could tell a story about that, you would go, I'm having a problem with alcohol. It has me, I don't have it. Screen time is definitely the hottest addiction going.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I have to really control when I turn off. I have to very consciously have a time that would be a hard stop for me. Because I'm definitely one of those persons that would just be like, do, 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 scroll, scroll, scroll. And then that's where that comparison comes in. And that's
Mhm.
where that whole like lack of authenticity comes in because there's people that are fake on there. There's people that make themselves look a certain way that aren't really that way. And then you're comparing yourself to fakeness anyway. So it's really, it screws with your brain.
But that's not really new, is it?
Well, I think
Like
social
Hollywood, like
media,
we've been look, we just have way more of it now. right?
Yeah.
You used to only be able to turn on the television and there was HBO and like there was what you could watch and the radio you could listen to. And now it's frightening how many ways you can get your content and feel like you're in the world when you're just alone staring at a screen, right? Like, and that, I actually, I try, I keep trying to have that conversation with my son, right? Who can happily spend 8 hours on a screen thinking, and he goes, because he's playing a video game with five other guys. It's like, this is real. There's people. And I'm like, oh man. Like, okay, okay. You think that's real. Oh, okay. Right. Like I don't even know what to say to it. Right. Because it's out of my, it's out of my league. Right. Like I want, he's doing well in his life. So if this is your fun, this is your fun.
Yeah.
But wow.
But even on top of what you're saying, then there's the fact that, with social media, it will even curate what you're able to see and what you're not able to see. Right?
Hmm.
Like, your feed would look very different from my feed, just depending. And
Right.
it's kind of creepy when you think about it, Lauren. Because so if I stop and pause a little bit longer on some video, then all of a
Hmm.
sudden that's all I'm going to see anyway.
That is definitely algorithm reality coming to all of us. And I mean, it's even weirder because all you have to do is say, I think I have a cold, and then you'll get cold medicines
Yeah.
to your phone,
Yep. Yep.
right?
So
So it has like some intuition on you.
it is it's a little bit scary that if you don't kind of set some ground rules for yourself, that you can get completely scooped up in that world. And I don't think
Except you
it's,
always have the power to turn your phone off, right? Like it's only real because you let it have you, right? So you still have all the power, right? You're not, you really do, right? Like you have it, even though you're relating to it, like it has you. And if that's what you want to do with your life, which is like scroll it away, um, you, right? So you can, right? Who am I to say it's better to have a different, like, I know that's not cool for me. And I love being engaged in a variety of activities, right? But anyway, so I really do believe people should be happy doing what they're doing as long as they're not hurting anybody else, right?
Mhm.
So it's very confronting that someone could get lost in a screen the whole time, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what do I really think of that? I'm gonna talk, Lauren, right?
So somebody wants to do or get a life coach.
Hmm.
Is it how how do you get a life coach when you don't even know what you want? Is that your job to help figure
Yes.
out? So
That's exactly what I'm doing. So you don't need to know at all. You get asked these questions, right? And then you're gonna I've never, people are like, I'm very confused about this, but they know they wish they had a career they love. They know they wish they had a lover they loved, right? They know they wish they had the body they want. So people actually have a clue what they want, but they have no idea how to make it happen.
Mhm.
So I am not only in charge of making sure their dream is juicy enough, like hot, like you love it. Like I send many dreams back, right? Because the dream isn't dreamy enough, right? So I'm helping people dream big for their lives and then help them get there, like take action. So I really teach personal integrity, which is keeping promises.
Integrity. That's another term. And what exactly does integrity mean? Let's define it.
So integrity for how I personal integrity is that your vision, what you want to be doing, matches your thoughts, your actions, and your feelings. If you're taking the actions that go with your dream and you feel how you want to feel, you're having personal integrity. And so I'm helping people even face what would that be for me? And how would I achieve personal integrity in the area of my body, in the area of my marriage, in my sex life, right? So, what would that be? What do I want my head saying? What do I want my actions being? What do I want to feel?
Mm.
And if you're facing all of that and dealing with all of that, you're having personal integrity, which means you're being true to yourself. That's how I define it.
Okay. So let's run through this. This is going to be more fun. So, because I want people who listen to this podcast to be able to really understand what they would be having to do if they went to see a
Hmm.
life coach. So, if I came to see you, how would it begin? How would things start? Would we
I
start?
would, I send you a homework assignment. My joke is, it's not that funny, but my joke is, my homework is your life story colonoscopy.
Oh, interesting.
So I get your life story colonoscopy by you doing this homework that has 3 sections. It takes a person about 8 hours at the least amount to do this homework. And so I won't sit with anyone until they've done this homework. And that's where it starts. So, and if you read my book, you'll get the whole book is about that homework assignment and how to engage in all of it. Right. So I explain it very well. Um, that's what people do to come sit with me.
So tell us more about your book because some people might want to just start with your book. Can they do that?
Please hurry.
Yeah.
Right. $12. It's very cheap. Right. Cheapest way to get me. Right. Is so the book, maybe it's you. Cut the crap, face your fears, love your life. Right. And so it starts with it just exactly what I'm saying, like why you need to dream and why you aren't dreaming. And then I have specific clients that are real clients that I put their homeworks in so you can see what happened to them. So you can follow some really cool stories of, even people might know that are some of them are more renowned than others, but like I put people's lives through the process so you can watch what happens. Right. And so there's dreaming, there's facing your personality traits and how you deal with your own character, and then all of your haunting memories and how to resolve haunting memories. So I do all of that in the book.
Haunting memories. Do you mean like as quote unquote trauma? Because everybody's talking about their traumas. Is that what you mean by haunting memories or?
Yeah. Haunting memories, I actually want your positive and your negative haunting memories. So, a negative haunting memory does not have to be trauma. I tell you to go back through the 12 areas and come up with when I say your money, tell me your haunting memories about money, right? When I lost that $1,000, when I made that stupid, investment, when I did this, when I didn't do that, like I stole, like anything that you've ever done when it comes to money that haunts you, that you remember it and think of it. When I go money, and so haunting memories from your career, haunting memories from dating and love, right? Many people have a lot of haunting memories with their sex lives,
Mhm.
right? So, yes, if something, I just read a person's homework today that I'm going to do a call with later, and I read their hauntings, right? And so their hauntings go back to, their father dying of cancer, right? And how hard that was, I remember, um, and, killing an animal like seemingly by accident, but they really wasn't an accident. And they were so upset at themselves that they've never forgiven themselves. So, is that a trauma moment? Maybe, right?
Probably.
So there's, you know, so, of an 8-year old, right? So it's a memory that's there, but it shaped. So your haunting memories shaped your character.
Hmm.
And then also what I teach is that many haunting memories are haunting you, and they're connected to why you can't have your dreams. Like in that haunting memory, you made up things about yourself. You're abusive, you killed animals, you've done this, like you've come up with things that you're scared of that are true about you now. Or the way you think of your character has a lot to do with those haunting memories. So when I read your dreams, hear about your parents and all their personality traits and their marriage traits and the hauntings, I could start to see why you're having problems achieving your dreams or why you don't even know what you want in that area. It all comes together. And then
So,
I also teach spiritual epigenetics, like your
oh,
lineage, spiritual epigenetics.
what's
So I'm not,
that?
I, so epigenetics so there's behavioral epigenetics, which is
Yes,
that what
we know.
happened. So behavioral epigenetics, that's, you could say I'm teaching that, but I don't relate to it like behavioral epigenetics. I relate to it like spiritual epigenetics, that there are things that are repeating in your life that need to get healed and resolved that happened in your parents' lives or
Yeah.
your grandparents' lives, and there is no shaking them. They're coming to you. They're already on you. They're happening right now. If you don't know what happened to your parents or their marriage or what's happening in business or whatever, health, right? It's not, it matters significantly to what's happening in your life and how to heal your life and grow your life.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever read or seen Yvette Rose? Oh, you got to look into her. You'd love her then. You would love her. I wonder if, so I think that what you do, it can help the world as a collective. If
Mm,
everybody did a
mm.
little bit of this work, because, excuse me, I feel like, the blame game is huge. Oh, I blame my parents for being like this. Oh, I blame them for that trauma. Oh, I blame her for that. And I guess you would teach a reframe. Does that make sense? Like,
I I actually use, and it's in the book, that I like the Kabbalah, right? I use the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah says that you pick your parents, right? Like no, no,
yeah,
no,
I've
no,
heard
no,
that. I've heard
right?
that. Yep.
And that so in the moment of conception, what is going on between your parents, whether they're married, whether they're 17, whatever is going on between them in the moment of conception, your soul waited and got to come through, right? Like it was the perfect mathematical equation. And if your mom was miserable and faking it, your dad was drunk, like no matter what was going on in that bed, your soul perfectly needed that to be the equation for you to come through, and whatever comes, and that so you pick that circumstance, and that we have many, many, many lives, even though we'll never remember it right now or even feel it, and that would be against the game, right, against the spiritual sport, right? And so basically you're here to see how awake and evolved you can heal and grow your family before you hit the road and get your next gig.
Yeah, I would say I really align with a lot of that. And I've read the book, and I've interviewed Mark Wallin. It Didn't Start With You. Have you ever read that one? Oh,
No, I don't actually read
you
very at
don't?
all. I really don't read.
You don't?
No, no, I haven't read anything. I literally don't read, so that everything I'm coming up with is from me.
Oh, oh, interesting.
And
Very,
so if I've read it, I can quote it. But and I'll tell you everything I read, like who my favorite spiritual teacher is,
yeah.
right? So my favorite metaphysical, like so I do not read.
Mm,
I
mm.
have a few favorites, and other than that, I on my free time I paint.
Oh, well, that's
I,
nice.
I paint and exercise. See?
I love it. I love it. Beautiful. So, where where does one begin just to be more happy, satisfied in their lives? Where do we
But
begin?
I would
Get your book, of
say,
course.
no. There, most people are three promises away, like three really important promises away from being much happier with themselves. But you consistently keep that promise. Like if you do that, you will be proud of yourself. And so in order to make a promise that you're currently not making or keeping, you need a buddy. And I also teach that you need a consequence. That is not a punishment. That is a, you'll say it. So it's, for example, and this is true for me, that if I don't, like, in order for me to get my cup of coffee in the morning, I have to do 20 push ups or no sit. Right. So I literally have the sign next to my coffee machine and I literally put the first pod in and get down on the floor and do my 20. Right. So if you want to take on a promise, you need some kind of consequence. And my joke is I would do most things for a cup of coffee.
I love coffee too, but I have to
Me
limit
too.
myself. I limit myself to 1 cup a day. 1 cup. Um,
I have one very big one.
yeah, mine is pretty big. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I get up early enough. I like for me, I just won't let anything interfere with my sleep, and I'm a very slow metabolizer of caffeine. So if I was to have a cup of coffee at 11, 12 o'clock, that would mean that it would could potentially be in my body for 12 hours. So that's a big
Wait,
no.
I can't, I stop at 12 or I will be up also. And
Yeah.
I care about we go down at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, me too. 9:30, 10. Sometimes I'm asleep on the couch by 8:15. Listen, nothing interrupts my sleep. Not even my
That's
teenage daughter, although that does happen sometimes too. Um,
that's great.
okay. One last question. Do you believe that people can change?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Favorite thing we should be doing all the time. Yes. I've seen it, I watch it, it happens and it works. But you have to want it.
Okay, that then how about there's a part two? Do you think
Okay.
the world and humans as a collective want to change? Or do you think they want to just be in this state? Because I don't think it's very happy out there right now, Lauren.
Mm.
It's a deep question.
Well, I think we're all a little upset at how short 100 years is. Right. So, and I think life has been around for a very long time. And so evolution is very slow. And so we're a little closer to those, we're a little too close to the same as it ever was. Actually, here's what there's a prayer. So I'm Jewish, right? I'm not a practicing Jew. But I use a bit of it. And there's a prayer that everyone says on the day of the fast. On Yom Kippur, you fast that day, right? And there's a prayer where you say sorry for everything human about you, right? And you bang your chest and you say you're sorry. And I recently read that prayer, right? To see how legit it still is from, like, really, how long ago was that prayer written? Go thousands, like it was a long time ago. And the prayer, like I checked how many of those I needed to say sorry for. And out of, like, I think it's 44 or 46 I'm sorry's.
Yeah.
I only had six I didn't need to apologize for,
Hmm.
which means no, we haven't changed very much. I'm sorry, but me neither. Right. So even on that, right. So so you're still thinking mean thoughts about someone and you're still saying things you wish wasn't true. And you're still like it nailed it. Right. So I think the human condition has a long way to go, but I believe in the humans.
Mm. Like that. Okay, so let us know where if is there anything else that, you'd like to add, and where can we find you and your book and the name and all of that?
So, um, and I'm Lauren Handel Zander. You can find me on Instagram. Please do. I post, right? My main work is Inner.U. So it's the word inner.u.coach, Inner.U.coach, Inner.U. Right? No. I think I'm told it, I'm doing it wrong. I'll get it to you so you can put it as
You
a
can
link.
send me the link. Yes.
I will send you the link. And the company's name is Handel Group. That's what, so I've been running the Handel Group.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
It was very nice to meet you. And thank you. It was very engaging and deep.
Oh, I'm deep. I go deep, girl.
I like it.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to share it with someone you know might benefit. And always remember, when you rate, review, subscribe, you help to support my content and help me to keep going and bringing these conversations to you each and every week. Join me next week for a new topic, new guest, new exciting conversations to help you live your best life.